the Evergreen Media Network Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Treasure Coast Connector, connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. Treasure Coast Connector is the talk show and online community where we put a spotlight on interesting local businesses and resources, then connect them to you, the consumers in the community. Everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do. And when we learn about what's happening in our own backyard and support local businesses, it strengthens our local economy. For details on the show, links to discounts, promos, past interviews, check out www.tcconnector.com. Well, joining me in the studio today is someone who has been here twice before, a real Renaissance woman because of her diverse experience in both business and the arts. Pat Heydlauff, she is a business consultant. Pat Heydlauff is a business consultant, a public speaker, published author, artist, and she's here to talk about her 6th book, Conversations with Thoth, Your Pathway to Wisdom, Truth, and Unconditional Love. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Ellen. It's great being back again.
Yeah, and I can't believe I mispronounced your name. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, but I'm glad you're here because your books have touched so many people, and you are just on this journey yourself.
Absolutely.
For like just self-awareness, betterment, improvement, and being on this earth to be loved and to give love and connect with others.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And before we talk about the book, if you could just very quickly just share what made you want to be an author.
Actually, I kind of fell into it backwards because as I would be out speaking and talking with others, they would be asking, well, have I written a book about this subject or about that subject? And it turns out my journey became the book as I was learning and going deeper into my journey and found that it helped me. I wanted to share that and give other people the opportunity to see what lies in front of them and how their journey could become much better and much greatly expanded by maybe following just a few simple ideas or thoughts that are written in each of those books.
Well, very nice. And now, so the book title, it says that you've had conversations with Thoth. So if you could elaborate on how these conversations took place.
Well, the conversations with Thoth all began with a process that I call creative journaling, where you allow your mind to go away and you allow your heart to speak and receive information. And as I continued to write books, I continued to seek this concept of wisdom and knowledge. It's like I felt we were really missing something on planet Earth, so to speak, with all the chaos and all the turmoil and all the wars and all the hatred and all the diverse different opinions. And so I found journaling, first of all, to be the tool that really works for me instead of either prayer or meditation, of connecting with my higher self, of connecting with my guides, of connecting with my creator. And eventually, because I was seeking wisdom and knowledge, Thoth showed up in my life.
Okay, so now, why were you looking forward or intent or purposeful in speaking with Thoth?
Because when I was a child, I was given this wonderful, huge golden book. And inside the book was this wonderful picture of the Great Pyramid and all of the tunnels. And across the bottom of the page were all of these very unusual characters that had animal or bird heads. And there was this one that had this ibis head that became known to me as Thoth. And there was something about that character that spoke to me and those pyramids that deep within, somehow this was all connected and you could reach for that information and that peace and that understanding that's there.
Okay, so now the conversations that you've had with him, with Thoth, why are they so important for people today to hear?
They're fantastically important because we are facing so much more than even back in the ancient Egyptian times.
Yeah.
And the stresses we live under, the medical care we don't have, sort of.
Sure.
We have medical care, but it's not preventative care.
Yeah.
The way people treat each other, it's like all of these common things of equality and of respect and honoring others is gone. And that, while it was a rather hierarchical world then, the truth that was spoken then is more relevant and more applicable today in the world we live in.
Yeah, absolutely. Ever since the pandemic, that I think changed the fabric of society and how we're a lot more hot-headed, reactive. We're not as kind or thoughtful or...
Fear and lack of truth. It's a combination of the two. We became isolated. And when you're isolated, that builds fear rather than the commonality of, let's get through this together. And once that fear starts to grow, you trust no one, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's another family member, or whether it's a neighboring nation. I mean, the fear level just exponentially grows. So there's got to be a way to bring that all back together under this overriding wisdom of the ancients. How did they get along, and the truth that is lying in that wisdom, and then the unconditional love that is the result of really connecting with your creator and finding yourself within.
No, that's very true. So now what about Thoth and his point of view on the role or the importance that family plays within our society?
It's interesting. As I was writing this book, he taught in a very experiential way. It's almost like a mystery. He walks you through all of these different learning areas in the library, and instead of plunking a book down in front of me, he would take me to a library that maybe was filled with musicians and artists and authors and stuff. Or in the case of the family, he would take me to a park where he would explain that no electronic equipment is allowed in this park. This was family time, together time, where children learn to respect their elders, where children learn to respect other elders, where they learn to negotiate with each other, where they learn to play honorably together. So it's all about building the foundation of what a family is all about. And it begins at home with meditation in the morning, because meditation is one of the ways they teach children to always be in control.
Yeah.
And then the family spends time together. During school days, the children go off to school, the parents work, but there's always a parent at home when the child gets home, and they try to work that around the parent's schedule so that there's always family time together. They don't send homework home because they want the children to interact with the parents, because the parents are as much of the learning curve as are the schools.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that would be a wonderful thing to have in our society today. And with the working from home and remote work, we're navigating that. They want to go back to the office, but we are learning how to work from home and be very productive. I think that's actually very good for families.
I think it is, because at least one of the parents might be at home at all times. As long as it doesn't feed into the fear factor and the isolation and the fear of going back to work, which is another problem completely that we're still dealing with as a society.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think we can also take another lesson from Thoth, and that is at dinner time. My husband and I could do this too, because we didn't grow up with smartphones, but boy, do we like them.
That's right.
And sometimes it's like, wait a minute, I'm catching myself. It's like, I don't need to look at this now.
Absolutely, you do not. And the more time you can stay off of your phone and block off creativity time, the better off you'll be.
No, that is very true. And we're going to take a break 45 seconds early, Cindy. Yeah, because I don't want to go to the next question and get interrupted. So we have a lot more to talk about with Pat Heydlauff with Conversations with Thoth. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When life is a struggle, getting help shouldn't be. Unstruggle.org is a place for you to find providers, have appointments on your behalf, and help eliminate the barriers that many people face when seeking mental health treatment. We're here for you. Unstruggle.org.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
Don't miss the boat, the Vero Beach Boat Show, this Saturday and Sunday at Riverside Park. See the latest boats from local dealers with staff ready to answer your questions. See everything from cruisers to jet skis, flats boats to deck boats, offshore fishing machines, and more. Enjoy food and refreshments, free admission and free parking. It's everything a boater or boater-to-be could dream of. The Vero Beach Boat Show, this Saturday and Sunday at Riverside Park in Vero Beach. Details at VeroBeachBoatShow.com.
Giddy up! Come on out to the Downtown Country Hoedown, presented by Block and Scarpa. A big old party in Vero with live music by Nashville recording artist Thomas Tillman. Midway games, a mechanical bull, line dance, and beer food contests and prizes. Admission is free. Presented by Block and Scarpa Attorneys at Law. Treasure Coast Trees, GHO Homes, and Vero Beach Mitsubishi. Admission is free at the Downtown Country Hoedown. Black Friday, November 24th at 6 p.m. in downtown Vero Beach.
Celebrate Thanksgiving the old Florida way at Marsh Landing Restaurant. Enjoy traditional dinners with all the trimmings. Make reservations now and let Marsh Landing do all the work. Marsh Landing in historic downtown Fellsmere. Online at marshlandingrestaurant.com.
Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I've been speaking with Pat Heydlauff about her 6th book, Conversations with Thoth. And we were talking on the very fast break about the experiences, the feedback that you're getting from some of your readers. So tell me about that again.
It's been really fun to start with. This is a journaling experience I've never had before because we literally traveled together, ate together, went everywhere together in the teaching process. And my readers are telling me that it's a fast read because it's a fun read. They want to know, where is he taking me next, or what is our next adventure? And because he teaches experientially, it isn't like you just open a book and learn in 1892 we did something.
Yeah.
So I'm getting some really interesting feedback on the book itself.
Well, good. Well, that makes it, a lot of fun, of course,
Absolutely.
for the reader. And it makes me want to read it, which I'm going to. Okay, so now, based on what you've learned from him, what do families, what do our communities as a whole, even our nations, what do they need to know to get to a better place, to a loving place?
According to Thoth, you need to build your foundation of truth. Everything is on truth. Marriages can't last if there isn't truth. Neighborhoods can't be cohesive if there isn't truth. Nations will fall where they're not built upon truth. Truth is the cornerstone, and then using that truth wisely in a balanced, harmonious way where everybody is treated equally with respect and being honored eventually leads to unconditional love. And I will tell you, we would walk on a labyrinth periodically throughout my spending time with him. And the unconditional love I would feel as we neared the center of this labyrinth every time was well beyond anything. Yeah,
That's so nice. Yeah.
This experience was one of the few where my journaling has brought me to tears more than once, and also angered me more than once.
Okay.
Enough so I got up and walked away from my table.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a very interesting journey. I would not give this journey up for anything in the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is wonderful. And another thing I want to make sure that we get to, I don't want to forget, is we have people that are listening to this on iHeartRadio and all the major podcasts. So the people that can watch this are seeing your contact information.
Yes.
But share with people. Now, of course, people can go to Amazon.
Yes.
And so, Pat, your last name, so of course, because the last time I didn't say it right, your last name, Heydlauff, is spelled Heydlauff.
Correct.
So when they go on to Amazon and they type in Pat Heydlauff, they're going to see the most recent book, Conversations with Thoth, but then they're going to see the 5 other books as well.
That's right. All my books are on there.
Yes.
They could go into a bookstore. A bookstore can order it for them.
Mm-hmm.
They can get a signed copy if they want by going to my website, which is patheydlauff.com.
Very good. That was the other thing I was going to ask you. So www.patheydlauff.com.
That's right.
Okay, very good. All right, so now the role that creativity plays, okay? So now helping people, they first have to open themselves up before they can connect with others. So how do they do that? How do they connect with others and with the Creator?
Well, first, you can use meditation, you can use prayer. I happen to use journaling. It just works better for me. There is no wrong way. Mm-hmm. All you need to make sure is that the information you're journaling is in your best interest, is in the best interest of others, and brings harm to no one. Then you know you're receiving the truth. Okay. Brings harm to no one is the important part.
Very important, yeah.
And sometimes you'll connect with guides. I have often had a direct connection with my Creator. It's not often like every day, like with Thoth, I can speak back and forth daily. Mm-hmm. And this time I was blessed with being given Thoth as my creator, as my connection. Mm-hmm. And he asked me one day, what makes you happy? What brings you joy? And it took a while, but finally I got it down to music. I'm a big fan of Broadway musicals, mm-hmm. of Strauss waltzes, some of the more peaceful, the ones that have string instruments that touch your heart.
Oh, sure.
I love the creativity of art. I love writing, which is also creative. But he pointed out there are many other creative ways. You can go bird watching. You can go sit on the bench at the beach. His point was they believe in this so strongly that was the way to reconnect with the Creator, that their students in their schools had almost half a day dedicated to creativity. And literally, mm-hmm. it could be basket weaving. It could be raising plants. It could be anything that gets them out of the technology left brain mode and into that creative right brain. Yeah. Because the new ideas come from the right brain creativity. Mm-hmm. And that's where the heart is touched and you connect with your Creator.
Yep, exactly. That's why all my little cousins at Christmas, I got them finger paints.
There you go.
Play-Doh.
That's perfect.
I was a popular cousin and aunt, let me tell you. Okay, so now another question, and I just want to look at my notes because there's just so much detail in this book, and I just want to make sure that the people that are listening and watching just really have a good understanding of how this is going to help. So now you were showed things during your time with Thoth that are not here on this earth as of yet. So tell us about that.
There are 2 or 3 things that just really struck me. One was intergalactic travel. That was incredible. Thoth explained that there are 6 galaxies and that a 7th one is currently in the creation stages. He actually took me to one of the galaxies to meet with the presiding leadership, and we were introduced at this really formal affair. But the technology that got us there, I mean, we were there like in 2 days. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was something about the way we were lifted straight up in the air and then catapulted out into space. We'd go for a ways. I mean, it would be so fast. We had to close all the windows because otherwise you'd be constantly seeing these streaks of light just flying into your eyes.
Yeah.
And then we would stop in a holding place until all of the planets in the galaxy we were going to would line up so that we could finish our journey directly in. Okay. So the technology of that was incredible. The technology also of communicating with each other. He maintains we as humans should be able to talk with each other on brainwaves. And he and I, sometimes we'd be talking for half an hour and I'd look at him and I'm thinking, his mouth isn't moving. And that's when it would dawn on me that I was hearing him.
And he was hearing you.
And he was hearing me, yes.
Interesting. I think I'm actually at that point with my husband.
Okay.
Oh, he knows. With a look, an arched eyebrow, hands on my hip. Oh, he knows. I'm just saying. He knows what I'm thinking sometimes. But all kidding aside, no, that actually is really interesting because, think about how we are now versus 100 years ago on this planet.
In this case, he also took me to their healthcare area, and they have these beds that they use crystals and they use herbs and they use medicinal things. And no allopathic, no drugs, all about prevention.
Yeah.
In the school systems, it's all about, they have kids of all ages together. Sometimes some of the 8-year-olds have every bit as much knowledge or are ahead of the 15 or 16-year-olds.
Oh, wow.
Because they influence each other and they bring screens down out of the air. These, they're like invisible screens, but they're at eye level and they do all of their work there. And because of their meditative state when they start their day, like somebody laughs over on the other side of the room, the other ones are so into what they're doing. There is no distraction. And they allow them to have fun in the mixed age groups and then send them out for creativity.
Well, the next time you go, bring back a vacuum cleaner that I can just snap my fingers and my house is vacuumed. I'm just saying that's the one thing I don't like to do.
Would be nice for all of us.
Okay, so now we're doing good because we're almost out of time. But okay, you know what? I'm going to ask you, because just to make sure we don't do this, because I don't want to miss everything. What advice do you have for others that want to journal, and they just don't know where to start? A blank page sometimes and a pen, and they go, I don't know what to do.
When we have
2 minutes.
When I first started journaling, I literally said, well, good morning, Lord, I'm here. I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying, but I'm here and I'm writing. And it's a beautiful day, etc. And after a while, once you learn to quiet your mind and not let any distractions enter, you will start to hear your Lord speak to you. It's a 24/7 communication, and it's a two-way street communication once you get connected.
So just take that pen and just start writing, if you're like, I'm not sure what to write, and just start writing how you're feeling or whatever, and then it just goes from there.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard the words, just pick up the pen and write.
Good.
Just pick up the pen and write, and you will hear.
So what I want to say, because Cindy's going to make me close out the show now, is thank you very much for being here for the third time.
You're very welcome.
I know that these books are going to help. They've helped so many already. This one is just another step in that helpful direction. Right. So thank you for being on the show. My name is Ellen Contreras, host of Treasure Coast Connector. Until next week, I miss you already.